This is another story. This one's relatively short as well, but I think you need to hear it. So before Elon Musk bought Twitter and changed it to X and all that jazz, Twitter had decided to label certain accounts as Russia affiliated media or Iran affiliated media. All of a sudden, we woke up one day and there were a number of accounts on Twitter that had this label like attached to their accounts, right? The problem with that is that it obviously suppressed those accounts. But on top of that, the other thing that became an issue is that it seems like people were less likely to click on those accounts because they'd see the label that said Russian affiliated media. And obviously that would make people think, oh, I shouldn't trust what that account says, right? Which is interesting because US corporate media lies all the time, but no one says, oh, I shouldn't trust what that account says. So that type of thing. George Galloway was one of those people. George Galloway had a label that was slapped on his account that said Russian affiliated media. Now, what was interesting about his particular case is that George Galloway wasn't working for RT. The people who had the label Russian affiliated media, they had worked for RT or they were some type of a correspondent for RT, even a guest correspondent. They were the ones that had that label. So even Fiorella Isabel's account at one point was slapped that label. I don't think those labels should have happened, period. But I'm trying to explain what happened here. People who worked for Iran media. So like if you worked for Press TV or whatever, then you got the label Iran State Media, etc. I thought that was ridiculous, but that was another way of Twitter to censor and suppress certain people and certain information. Now, George Galloway had that label of Russian affiliated media, and he immediately questioned it on Twitter and said, why do I have this label on my account? I don't work for RT. What is going on? You guys need to remove this label. And at that time, Elon Musk had bought Twitter. So he was tagging Elon Musk and he was like, this label needs to be removed from my account. Like, very simple, right? So to make a long story short, George Galloway decided to sue Twitter. I don't know if a lot of people know about this. It was a defamation lawsuit. Let's go back to this part when he was talking about it here.
I'm meeting him tomorrow or his top legal representative tomorrow in Dublin. So he might need your subscription. But I'm going to raise, of course, the ongoing suppression, censorship, algorithmic strangling, and all the other tactics that are still being used on Twitter, on X, when he said he was bringing it back to being the public square. He said that he was ending censorship. He said he was ending collaboration with state agencies. And he has not. Of course, the Elon Musk iteration of Twitter is better than the previous one. The CIA were practically openly running Twitter before he bought it. Of course, it's better than it was, but it is a very long way short of what he promised it would be.
So this was during the time when Elon Musk did make the promise that he was going to be, free speech person and you can say whatever you want, on Twitter and all that kind of jazz. And obviously, of course, that wasn't the case. And I think some of us tried to warn people that, once he gets pressure from like advertisers and other government officials, that's going to change too as well, right? Just like it did with Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg. But I think, George was one of those people that did believe that Elon was going to move in that direction and there wasn't going to be as much censorship on Twitter once he bought it. And I will say there were some improvements, but then there's also still a lot of suppression, especially like Israel, Gaza, it's heavily suppressed. Zionist accounts are heavily boosted. Pro-Palestinian accounts are heavily suppressed, especially if it's a Palestinian organization account, heavily suppressed. So you guys get the picture. People asking to end the war in Ukraine, unless you're already a public figure, you're going to be heavily suppressed as well. So there are a number of things that have happened there. George Galloway, though, he hosts this show, Moats TV. He was also running for office. Everybody remembers he ran for office in it was like a short term, a special election. We would call it a special election here in the US. And he won. So imagine thinking about that. If you have that label on your account and that's not true, you don't work for RT, then that also could hurt your election chances and all that stuff as well. That being said, George Galloway, supports ending the war in Ukraine and thinks it's ridiculous, etc. But he was able to file a defamation lawsuit because of this. Like, he kept asking Elon, remove this label from my name. So there was some disappointment that he's expressing here.
And you're right to highlight that. I myself found myself today victim to a tactic I literally had never seen before. One of my friends, Uncle Hoz, put out a clip of me talking about this Motorola business. It was an enormous hit. It was almost 300,000 views in a matter of hours. And then it got a stamp put on it, a stamp which I have never seen before, by Twitter. And the stamp said, this material is taken out of context. What does that mean?
Yeah, that was another thing. They still do the stamps, but some people say they're even more suppressed now. And these things weren't explained to people. That was another thing. Like, we literally woke up one day and all of a sudden there were these labels on people's accounts. We're like, what the hell is this? And it could have been someone who, like, maybe they were a guest correspondent for RT, like for a month or something, or someone who was a guest host for like Press TV or something. And all of a sudden, like, they had these labels on their accounts. Now, again, I'm pretty sure that came from the US government, put that pressure on Twitter and tell them, okay, we need to label these accounts. So that did hurt, like, people who are investigative journalists. Yeah, that did hurt their accounts. So George Galloway filed that lawsuit, and I have an update about that. It says that Elon Musk X is ordered to pay George Galloway after labeling his account Russia state affiliated. So this is good news for George. That he got his win here, because I gotta say, he didn't give up. Maybe other people should have done this as well, but this is good news for him. It says that Elon's X has been ordered to pay George Galloway legal costs in a defamation lawsuit. This is after the politician's account was labeled an affiliate of Russia. The High Court in Dublin ordered X to pay part of Mr. Galloway's fees and ordered both sides to submit statements to the court by the end of January. So I guess Elon Musk thought that this would just go away on its own, but George was not giving. George was like, I'm in it to win it, son. George was like, I am not letting this go. Mr. Galloway, who presented shows on the state-backed broadcasters RT and Sputnik, was labeled as Russian state-affiliated media in 2022 after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So remember, after the war started in Ukraine, don't forget, guys, that RT was removed. Remember, they removed RT America from YouTube. That was all gone. A lot of people lost jobs. Like Lee Camp had a fantastic show on RT. So did Chris Hedges, Jesse Ventura, Abby Martin, Anya Parampil was also on RT. A lot of those shows on RT were pretty cool, right? So people lost jobs. And it just and then they came after their YouTube channels. Like, then Lee Camp lost his YouTube channel. He had to start all over. Abby Martin lost all of her videos. So that was after the war in Ukraine started. So once that was removed and George Galloway was no longer, because they count Sputnik too, no longer presenting a show for RT or Sputnik, it's like, why would you still have that label? Like that was the thing. That was already gone. They had already canceled it. Like Tara Reid was on RT. They'd already canceled it. And then they went to label the people. So that was another thing. It says he subsequently sued Twitter for defamation, saying its unjust labeling of honestly held political views is the new McCarthyism. He said the label was damaging to his reputation and described it as unjust and perverse. The lawsuit was lodged before Mr. Musk paid $44 billion to buy the social network later in the year. Mr. Musk was then renamed it X and removed the Russian media label from all the accounts. Although accounts for RT and other broadcasters have been blocked in the UK and EU to comply with sanctions. So here we go. X is denying Mr. Galloway's claims. It says after Mr. Galloway sued Twitter in Ireland, where the company's headquarters are based, it failed to issue a defense for 2 years, leading the former MP to file a motion forcing the company to respond. So Elon Musk never responded. And so George continued. It has belatedly denied Mr. Galloway's claims, but must pay the legal costs that are associated with issuing the motion. Kevin Winters, Mr. Galloway's lawyer, confirmed the decision and said both sides have been told to submit a written affidavit, by January 30th. The case underscores the broader challenge for social media platforms and navigating accountability for their past actions, particularly in the context of evolving policies and leadership changes. RT was taken off of the British Airways after Russia's invasion and has been banned from YouTube. Mr. Galloway won re-election to the Commons after winning a by-election in Rochdale in February, but lost his seat to Labour in July. So in case you guys didn't know about this, I just wanted to let you know, Elon Musk is now, they're ordered to pay George Galloway after labeling his account as Russia state affiliated media. And George Galloway also posted this on Twitter. He said, this part here, because Elon, I guess, still isn't responding. He said, "Why are you doing this, Elon Musk? You yourself denounced the corruption and mendacity of the ancient regime at Twitter. You fired the agents responsible for this." And he's pointing to the article right here. So, yeah, like, I tell you guys, I think we're going to see more of this because, like, a lot of people, people are tired of the censorship, man. People are tired of it. So it's interesting, he filed the lawsuit and he seems to be moving forward with that, continuing, but Elon Musk has got to pay for his legal fees, apparently. And Elon's a billionaire. He can handle all of that. But I don't think that Elon Musk thought that this was serious. I don't think that he thought that George Galloway would continue with it, but he is. And it makes me wonder if other people could have done the same. Interesting times, folks. Interesting times. Let's go to some of the comments here. Wild Rose says, Galloway, don't back down. Solid. Thank you, Kevin. I decided I am a George Galloway leftist. His combo of left/right views mirrors my own more than most. Hard to find my stripe just anywhere. Interesting. And Marvin says, congrats, GG. Enjoy your money. Enjoy your money. Enjoy your money. So, yeah. I guess, the walls are closing in on Elon Musk. It really makes me wonder if other accounts should have done that. Like, I'm thinking about Rachel Blevins, like she was labeled. Tara Reid was labeled at one point. Fiorella Isabel was labeled at one point. It makes me wonder if all of them should have came together and filed one big suit. I don't know. What do you guys think? Interesting. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.